Kim Kardashian did not build a $5 billion brand by discovering underwear. She built it by turning attention into distribution, then giving that distribution something people would buy twice. The repeat purchase is the part people skip over. Plenty of celebrities can make a product sell out once. A famous face posts a link, fans rush in, screenshots fly around, and the launch looks enormous. Then the attention moves on. The hard part is building a company that still works after the first post disappears. Skims became that company. It started with shapewear, expanded into underwear, loungewear, swim, menswear, stores, and eventually a new athletic brand with Nike. In November 2025, a funding round valued the private company at $5 billion. The lazy explanation is that Kim was famous. Fame mattered enormously, it just was not enough on its own. Before Skims, Kim Kardashian had spent more than a decade living inside the attention economy. Reality television turned ordinary family arguments, outfits, relationships, and business meetings into weekly entertainment. Social media then removed the television schedule. Kim could speak to an enormous audience whenever she wanted. People often describe that audience as a marketing advantage. That is true, but incomplete. It was also a live research panel. Kim could wear a color, shape, or fabric and see the reaction immediately. Followers asked where things came from. Fashion blogs copied the look. Comments revealed what people loved, hated, or could not find. The audience was not just watching the product development process. In a loose, noisy way, it was participating in it. Kim also had years of personal frustration with shapewear. She has described cutting garments apart, dyeing them with tea bags, and altering pieces so they worked under particular outfits. The category already existed. The problem was that many products were treated like embarrassing medical equipment, limited colors, awkward cuts, and something to hide. There was the opening. Take a product customers merely tolerated and make it feel as though somebody had actually listened to them. Of course, spotting the gap did not put a single bodysuit into a box. Skims was co-founded with Grede, an experienced fashion executive who became chief executive. Grede joined as a founding partner and product leader. The distinction matters because this was not a celebrity mailing sketches to a random factory. Kim brought cultural instinct, product obsession, and direct access to customers. The Gredes brought sourcing, merchandising, finance, hiring, and the boring machinery required to put thousands of garments into the world. Kim knew what would make people stop scrolling. Jens and Emma knew what had to happen after they stopped. The first launch nearly crashed before it began. The brand was originally announced as kimono. Critics, including people in Japan, objected that the name borrowed from a culturally important garment for an unrelated shapewear line. Kim initially defended it, then changed course. In August 2019, she announced the new name, Skims. The products launched on September 10th. That episode is not a clever origin myth. It was a preventable mistake. But the response showed a trait that would matter later. The team could absorb loud feedback, change the plan, and keep moving. The new name was also better. Skims sounded like the product, carried a quiet piece of Kim's name, and was broad enough to stretch beyond compression underwear. At launch, the visual idea was simple. Shapewear should come in more than one beige. Bodies have different skin tones, proportions, and clothing problems. The brand offered multiple shades, sizes, cuts, and levels of support. Instead of pretending the garment did not exist, Skims photographed it like fashion. That reframing mattered. The product was no longer only a secret layer worn under a dress. A bodysuit could be the outfit. A bra and matching underwear could be a coordinated set. Neutral colors could become a recognizable brand language rather than an apology. Kim's attention made the launch unavoidable, but the product design made it easy to demonstrate. A customer could see a dress with and without a particular solution. She could compare colors against her skin. She could watch someone test whether a bodysuit rolled, squeezed, or showed through fabric. The internet loves products with visible proof. Then scarcity added fuel. Early drops sold quickly, sizes disappeared, and restocks became events. Scarcity can be manipulated, but apparel inventory is also genuinely hard. Too much stock creates markdowns. Too little creates angry customers. Skims used a drop rhythm that kept attention moving while the assortment grew. Here, celebrity distribution starts doing something a normal advertisement cannot. A traditional clothing company pays to reach strangers. Kim already had millions of people who had voluntarily chosen to follow her. Every product fitting, campaign image, packaging reveal, or behind-the-scenes clip could become media. The company still spent money on marketing, but its founder owned an enormous channel that other brands had to rent. And she was not the only channel. Skims seeded products to celebrities, creators, athletes, and fashion editors. Campaigns used famous names, but also a wide range of bodies and ages. Each new face pulled the brand into a slightly different audience. Kim created the first wave. Collaborators and customers kept the water moving. Still, attention cannot explain repeat purchases. Nobody needs a second uncomfortable bra because the first campaign had a clever photograph. Skims kept widening the set of problems it could solve. There were soft, everyday basics, lounge sets that became especially well-timed during the pandemic, underwear, swimwear, men's products, and physical stores. The company moved from a corrective garment into a larger promise: close-to-the-body clothing that looks good, feels comfortable, and comes in a consistent visual world. That shift changed the economics. Shapewear might be bought for a wedding or a particular dress. Underwear and basics wear out. Customers return. New colors and seasonal collections create reasons to browse again. A narrow hero product became the entrance to a broad wardrobe. The numbers suggest the brand survived its launch moment. In 2023, Chief Executive Jens Grede told Time that Skims had generated about $500 million in revenue the previous year. That is a company figure reported through an interview, not a public audited account, but it shows the scale management was claiming only a few years after launch. Investors followed. A 2023 financing valued Skims at $4 billion. In 2025, another funding round lifted the reported valuation to $5 billion. A private valuation is not the same as cash, revenue, or profit. It is the price investors agreed to place on the company in a particular transaction. It can rise or fall. It also does not tell us Kim's exact personal stake, because Skims does not publish a simple ownership table for curious YouTube viewers. The durable point is not Kim's estimated net worth. It is that she helped build equity in a company instead of collecting only an endorsement fee. She had already learned the difference between a famous name and a valuable stake. In 2020, Coty agreed to pay $200 million for 20% of her beauty business. That deal implied a $1 billion value for that business at the time. Skims pushed the ownership model into a category that fit her public identity even more closely. Then Nike arrived, and the pattern became impossible to miss. In February 2025, Nike and Skims introduced Nike Skims, a separate brand combining Nike's sports science and global athletic reach with Skims fit, styling, and cultural relevance. The first collection arrived that September. Nike did not need Kim to teach it how to make sportswear. Skims did not need Nike to prove that neutral-colored basics could sell. Each side supplied something the other wanted. For Nike, Skims brought momentum with women and a powerful fashion language. For Skims, Nike brought performance credibility, technical resources, athletes, and worldwide scale. It was the original Skims partnership logic repeated at a much larger level. Combine attention and taste with an operator that already owns the pipes. None of this makes the story flawless. The original name was a serious, unforced error. The brand operates in a body image category where the promise of confidence can sit uncomfortably beside the pressure to reshape yourself. Limited drops can create frustration as easily as excitement, and celebrity culture can hide the work of employees, suppliers, and business partners behind one recognizable face. Those criticisms belong in the story because they show what the $5 billion headline leaves out. Kim Kardashian's unusual edge was not attention by itself. Attention is unstable. Her edge was treating attention as infrastructure. She used it to notice problems, test reactions, launch without asking a retailer for permission, explain products visually, recover from mistakes in public, and make every expansion feel like an event. Then she paired that channel with experienced operators and kept adding products people might buy repeatedly. Put the pieces on a table and there are 5. An audience she could reach directly, a product problem she understood personally, partners who could execute, a brand identity that stretched into new categories, and equity that let the upside compound. Remove the product, and the fame produces a short spike. Remove the operations, and the spike becomes a backlog of refunds. Remove the audience, and customer acquisition becomes far more expensive. Remove the ownership, and Kim is simply the world's most effective spokesperson for somebody else's asset. Skims worked because those pieces reinforced one another. So the $5 billion headline is not really a story about shapewear. It is a story about distribution. Kim Kardashian spent years building a crowd, learned what that crowd noticed, and then stopped renting the crowd to other brands. She used it to build one. Which mattered most to Skims? Kim's audience, the product idea, the Grede partnership, or the decision to keep expanding beyond shapewear? Pick one in the comments. The answer reveals whether you think Skims is a celebrity brand or simply a very modern consumer company. Either way, the attention got the first click. The system built everything after it.